From cabins that cost less than a used pickup truck to properties you could actually escape to on weekends, Northern Ontario has some surprisingly affordable listings. But out of these 5 properties under $130,000, one stands out for a very different reason. Because while the others might need some work, this one could quietly cost you far more than you expect. We're starting with one of the cheapest cabins on today's list. Located at Lot 11 Old Mill Road, just outside Timmins, this is a 700 square foot cottage setup listed at only $34,000. But what you're actually getting is a 1988 Prowler camper with an added insulated structure sitting just steps away from Western Lake. The listing includes a surprising number of extras, from a wood stove and propane furnace to a paddle boat, furniture, and even a wall-mounted TV. There's shared access to a boat launch, nearby fishing lakes, and campground activities like beach events and fishing derbies, which makes it feel more like a ready-made getaway than a traditional property. There are a few unique aspects to understand here though, and they really shape what this property offers. Instead of traditional freehold ownership, it's located within a campground setting, which means you get access to a more community-driven environment with shared amenities already in place. The annual fee of around $2,500 covers that setup, giving you ready-to-use seasonal spaces without the full responsibilities of maintaining a standalone property. Timmins itself is a well-established mining city with strong infrastructure, but this property offers something different, a quieter escape just outside of that environment. If you're looking for an affordable getaway where most of the setup is already done for you, this can be a practical and low-barrier way to enjoy cabin life without the higher upfront cost of full ownership. Now, let's move on to something that looks a little bit more like a traditional cabin. At 20 Edward Street in Hillburg, you'll find a 3-bedroom, 1-bath home listed at just under $80,000. With around 950 square feet of living space, this property offers a more traditional layout compared to a cabin, including a bright main floor, a full basement for storage or future development, and a detached garage. The home sits on a decent-sized lot, giving it that quiet, small-town feel, and on paper, it looks like a practical entry point into Northern Ontario real estate for somebody looking for space at a low price. Built in 1932, it carries the character of an older home while offering a solid base that you can gradually update and shape to your own style. The septic system and rural setup are typical for properties in this area, and they fit well with the more independent small-town lifestyle. Hillburg is a peaceful community, ideal for someone who values space, privacy, and a slower pace of living. With the right approach, this property offers a clear opportunity to create a comfortable long-term home while staying within a very accessible price range. Now, if you're expecting something move-in ready, this price is just a starting point. And in places like this, the real cost often isn't the listing price, it's everything you have to fix or upgrade after you move in. Okay, shifting away from this home setup, our next property looks like a rare Northern Ontario experience. Now we're stepping into something that feels like a true Northern Ontario wilderness setup. Located at Lot 5 Concession 3 in Métis-Valcote, this $97,000 property sits on 10 acres of land surrounded by Crown territory. For this one, instead of a single cabin, you're getting 2 separate camp-style structures, a newer 20 by 24 build from 2020 with a loft and sleeping area, and an older 18 by 32 camp with multiple bedrooms. This property is clearly designed for outdoor living, with direct access to snowmobile trails, nearby fishing lakes, and hunting zones known for moose and black bear. On top of that, it includes greenhouses, tools, building materials, and even a drilled well, making it feel like a fully equipped off-grid base rather than just some raw land. Métis-Valcote is a northern community with many services, and properties like this one are built for isolation mostly. If you're an experienced off-grid buyer or somebody looking for a hunting base, this might be exactly what you want. If you're into real listings like these, where we break down what's actually worth it and what's not, make sure to subscribe, because most of these deals look good at first glance until you see what's actually really behind them. At 9 St. Joseph Street in Oppisatica, this stands out as one of the more complete homes on the list. Priced at $124,900, this 3-bedroom bungalow sits on a large 75 by 150 foot lot, offering a quiet setting just off the Trans-Canada Highway. The layout is simple and practical, with a spacious living area, a functional kitchen, and enough room for a small family. What makes this one different is how straightforward it feels compared to everything we've seen so far. It's not off-grid, it's not a seasonal setup, and it doesn't rely on shared land or unusual ownership terms. It's a full property with a clear layout, road access, and space to actually live in, not just visit occasionally. And in a list filled with compromises, that alone makes it stand out. Properties in small northern communities like Opasatica also tend to sit longer on the market, and buyers usually factor in renovation budgets on top of the purchase price just to bring them up to modern standards. And now, moving on to the final property that only looks like opportunity on the surface. At 105 Columbia Street in Shreveport, Ontario, this is a 1,120 square foot home built in 1963, offering 3 bedrooms and 1.5 bathrooms, which immediately puts it on the higher end of value for this particular price range. The layout is extremely practical, with a spacious living room, a functional kitchen, and all 3 bedrooms on the main level. Downstairs, there's a full basement with a large recreation area and a built-in bar setup, adding usable space for storage or entertaining guests. Outside, the property includes a partially fenced yard, a shed, and a concrete driveway, making it look far more complete and move-in ready than most listings under $130,000. But this is where the listing starts to shift, and this is where the trap becomes incredibly clear. Despite how complete it looks, the home relies entirely on electric heating, which in Northern Ontario can become extremely expensive during long, hard, cold winters. Now, that alone can turn a low purchase price into a high monthly cost incredibly quickly. Then, on top of that, the property's been sitting on the market for a long time. Now, in real estate, that usually means one thing: buyers have already seen something that made them walk away. Basically, Shreveport is a small, remote town with limited job opportunities and very slow population growth, which directly affects resale value. So, even if you were to buy it cheap, getting your money back later, it's in no way, shape, or form a guarantee. Now that right there is the actual trap that nobody is even talking about. Because on the surface, this looks like one of the best deals on the list. A full home. It's of a pretty decent size for its rate. It's under $130,000, and this screams opportunity. But then, once you factor in all the heating costs, you look at long-term demand, and you look at how long it's been sitting unsold on the market, and for good reason, this stops being a bargain and starts being a commitment that is really, really easy to walk away from.